Hello, CCA parents, guardians, or whoever is helping out your CCA high school student with algebra this second semester of 2020. I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of the second semester of algebra at CCA in the year 2020. Your student will be graded 90% on tests and quizzes and 10% on checkpoints. We'll get to those things here in a second. And then the test, quiz, retake policy, all prior book work and checkpoints must be done at a be done and at a passing grade, so over 60%. The overall philosophy that myself, this is Mr. Karstens, by the way, and the other algebra teacher, Mr. Baker, we've kind of combined forces this year. Our motto is basically doing the work is the shortcut. So if you want to have a retake ready to go, you should probably do all the book work and the checkpoints right away. So let's go ahead and look at Schoology. Here's what your student will be seeing. So here is our combined forces of all of the sections of algebra. And we've kind of organized it like this. Each quiz is going to have its own folder. So the 6-1 to 6-4 quiz is over these 4 lessons, and right away in the information about that folder are the assignments. So your student doesn't need to look too far to find the assignments that were assigned. Over on the right, we try to keep the calendar up to date as best we can. So we have a couple of assignments due at the end of this week and then early next week. We do have a quiz coming up shortly. Let's see here. So let's kind of go through the materials here. This is the checkpoint videos library. So every single lesson has 1, 2, or 3 checkpoints. Let's dive right in here to 6-1, solving systems by graphing. So let's kind of go through all of the materials here. So there's a link to a Desmos graphing calculator because we're solving by graphing. Here's a YouTube playlist of the notes that they would see in Mr. Carson's class. Here is the 6-1 assignment again. One of the new resources that I'm very, very excited about is this thing called a bookwork starter. Basically what it is, it's kind of how I would attack this bookwork. So it's kind of all of the questions mapped out, written out, and then maybe some helpful hints. Some of the harder questions are probably even started for them. So that's a nice resource. So if they click on that, that's kind of a nice way to navigate through the bookwork. And then here we have the checkpoints. Every single checkpoint is made of questions that Mr. Baker and I have made from scratch. Every single checkpoint also has its own playlist. So if a student has trouble with a question, well, I go through all of the questions one by one, maybe different numbers, but it's the same skill set. So every single checkpoint has its own playlist. So if they can't do it in class when we're there to help, then the internet version of myself will be there with a YouTube video. Down towards the bottom, so this would be a checkpoint alpha and checkpoint bravo. It kind of depends on the number of skills on how many checkpoints. Some lessons have 1, some have 3. We don't have it more than 3. We don't want them to have a million things to do. Here are Mr. Baker's notes from his class, and then here are some videos that are from the book. So as you can see, one lesson folder has a lot of resources that the student can use, and I would use as many of them if I were that student. So quick behind the scenes here, I'll kind of show you our stuff. All right, so here's kind of our resources that we've been building over the years. So here's kind of the folders we push out to students. So here are some more recent folders that we've been building. The lesson question kind of is right there and everything. So as you can see, we have a lot of questions that we've been building over the years. We build these questions because the beautiful thing about Schoology is it gives them instant feedback and if they get it or not. And once you get kids hooked on that instant feedback, then they just dive right in and they get after this stuff. So as you can see, we have lots of questions that we've been building over the years. And as we keep building, then our question bank resources build too, and it's just amazing stuff. So I'll just click right here and see what I've been building right here. As you can see, each question has its own name. So this flavor of question is called the Rascally Rad Hit. Completely made up. It makes no sense, and the kids find it kind of funny. Hey, whatever kind of gets you laid back and relaxed when you're attacking a math question is just fine. So what do we got to do? They got to complete the first step by solving by elimination, and solve for x and y. So they got to show the first step, Usually the red tells you how to type it. Schoology is very picky on how you enter your answers, so we try to be very, very precise with our directions. So they got to type stuff in there. X equals this, Y equals this. There you go. I'm also putting a timestamp on when the question was created, so this one is not very old. So over the years, it'd be kind of neat to see the timestamp and when the questions were created. Anyway, enough of that stuff. That's kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Anyway, what else do we got? So there's 6-1. And then at the end of all 4 of these lessons, there'd be a quiz. So we're taking that quiz test. We're taking that very, very soon this week. So we're off by a day. We haven't given it yesterday, but today is the 6th, I believe. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, we're giving this soon. We try to keep the dates up to date as best we can. What else is there? I think that's about it. There's really not a whole lot. Oh, one more new resource. Mr. Baker and I agreed that we're building a new resource called the Prior Skills Assessment. So basically what we're doing is we're bringing back questions from previous lessons. These are ones built for next week. We just haven't assigned them. That's why they're kind of shaded. There you go. See that? Unpublished. So this week there's 2 quizzes, and each quiz is just 2 questions from prior checkpoints all the way from the first semester. We're trying to keep some of those prior math skills sharp. So these are available anytime, anywhere. They're redoable, I think up to 3 times. By the way, regular checkpoints are redoable unlimited amounts of time. So let's see if we can find those again right here. So the Alpha and Bravo checkpoint, those are redoable, retryable, whatever word you want to use. You can do those as many times as you want. Both Mr. Baker and I, we check bookwork by completion. You turn it in, you get the points for it. So I think that's just about it. That's kind of all the resources we've built. And I really don't want to drag this out too long, because I've probably got you bored out of your minds already. That's it. That's kind of what the semester 2 looks like. We go 1 lesson at a time, and then the students always have the option to work ahead. We try to stay a few lessons ahead. Hopefully coming in soon will be some of the Chapter 7 folders. Again, we build these as fast as we can so students can work ahead. Some students love that. Again, once they get hooked on the instant feedback and figuring out if they can do it or not, they go, and it's really fun to see them be passionate about these things and just rolling right through all of our content. So if you have any questions about how things work, feel free to shoot us an email, or talk to your student about this, and maybe even have them walk you through it. Maybe they can even explain what all these things are. Hopefully they should. They see them almost every day. So anyway, that's it for me. I wanted to kind of show you how things work and what your students will be doing in semester 2 of the CCA Algebra class. All right, take care, y'all.